Hey guys, it's Maimai. Welcome back to my channel. So I realized that I never did a video explaining how I got into NYU and all of my stats and stuff, even though I was a fall 2020 admit. So I decided to sit down and finally do that. So I'll be going over my test scores / grades, my class load, my extracurriculars / awards, my why NYU essay, and then some just general advice about the application process. Disclaimer, the admissions process might be kind of different from when I did it because I did apply pre-COVID. So just make sure to check the NYU website to look at all of their requirements and stuff. Also, to preface, I applied early decision as a media culture and communications major, and I got into NYU in early December-ish in 2020. So now let's start talking about how I got it. So firstly, test scores. So I took the SAT and I got a 1510 super score, a 780 in math, and a 740 in reading. I began taking the SAT in November of my junior year, which is when most of the kids at my school started taking it. But I know that like a lot of schools, people start taking it a lot later. And I got a 1400 my first time. Then I took it again in March and I did worse with a 1380. And I think those scores still would have been okay for the colleges that I want to go to, because my other top two were Northeastern and BU. But I wanted to see if I could get a 1500 just so I could be towards the top of the average scores rather than like in the middle. And I was fortunate enough to be able to have a tutor who helped me prepare for the math section. And I did that in 2-hour sessions twice a week for about a month or two. I then took the June SAT my junior year and I got a 780 in math. And then I took it one more time in August and got that 740 in reading. And then as for my grades, I was pretty much a straight A student in high school except for 1B in my sophomore year chemistry class. My weighted GPA at the time of applying was a 4.318 on a 4-point scale. And my final GPA after sending in my transcripts and everything was a 4.429. And it is weighted like that because I took APs and stuff. Next, I'll be talking about my class load. I'm not going to go into everything. I'm just pretty much going to talk about my APs and like which year I took them. So in freshman year, I didn't take any AP classes. I only took CP and honors classes. And then in sophomore year, the only AP class that I took was AP US History or APUSH. Then junior year, I also only took one AP Euro. Then in senior year, I kind of ramped it up and I took AP Stat, AP Gov, AP Lit, and AP Studio Art. And then a lot of other kids at my school took even more APs than me, since I didn't really do a ton of APs until senior year. But as long as colleges see some sort of like growth or progression and some level of rigor, you'll be fine. You definitely don't need the amount of APs that I did. Okay, next is extracurriculars. So I tried to get involved with like a lot of clubs at my school because I didn't really do sports or anything. So in freshman year, I joined the art club and awareness club. Awareness club was just like a club that raised awareness for different diseases and stuff. And I became an awareness club officer in freshman year as well and maintained that position throughout senior year. And with that club, I also volunteered at the local Boys and Girls Club where I tutored kids every Friday for 2 hours. And then in art club, I became president in my senior year, but I was always like very involved in the activities since I was also in art classes all throughout high school, and I participated in things like through that. I was also in environmental club all throughout high school, and I participated in the club's yearly like fundraising fashion show, and I actually organized and ran that event in junior year, and I was supposed to do it in senior year as well, but that got canceled because of COVID. And then some of my other activities were being a member of Latin Club, volunteering at the local pet shelter all throughout high school, and doing a 2-week homestay / language immersion in Beijing the summer before my senior year. And then my accolades / awards included National Honor Society, the school's President's List and Honor Roll, National Latin Honor Society, and Maxima Cum Laude certificates in the National Latin examination for both freshman and junior year. Again, you do not need to do all of this stuff in order to get into NYU. I'll talk about this more later, but as long as your activities show that you do like something outside of school and that they are representative of you in some way, you'll be fine. Now to the why NYU essay. I know that a lot of people are very curious about this one. I'm just gonna read you guys my essay because it's kind of hard to like just talk about it. But before, I just want to say some general tips to relate it somehow to your Common App / your extracurriculars, just to show that you are like cohesively a good match for the school. And make sure to do a little research on NYU beforehand just so that you can name drop a couple things that show that you care. Also, I just want to say a quick disclaimer. One of the lines in my essay does talk about like me connecting with different cultures slash like ethnic backgrounds. And I feel like that can definitely be taken out of context. So I just want to mention that my Common App essay talked about how I overcame the feeling of like being out of place as an adopted Chinese person in a white family in America. So that's what that comment is in reference to. Okay, now I'm gonna read it. Growing up, my parents encouraged me to learn foreign languages, study other cultures, and keep an open mindset. Being born in China and raised American, it has been important for me to have a global perspective since the beginning. As I have never fully identified with one ethnic group, I felt that I belonged to a multitude of cultures, and that motivated me to become a global citizen. From the moments I found out about NYU, a school that encourages their students to become globally engaged, I knew I had found somewhere special. With the internet bridging geographical boundaries, it is inevitable to come across others who speak in different tongues, eat different foods, and think in different ways. But through learning and understanding other cultures, a whole new world of perspectives and possibilities opens up. That is why I love NYU. It strives to create cross-cultural connections, whether in New York City or at one of the many worldwide campuses. I'm especially enthusiastic about the study abroad programs, which shape students into well-rounded and culturally aware adults. I could gain invaluable experience at one of the campuses in Paris, Shanghai, or Madrid, all while creating relationships with people from all around the globe. I yearn to put myself in the middle of the ever-expanding melting pot of perspectives and absorb as much knowledge and insight as possible. Even at the New York campus, I could have an amazing worldwide experience, as it possesses an impressive number of international students and professors, each of whom have a story to share and a lesson to teach. There is no other city in the world like New York City, metropolitan, internationally diverse, a haven for those like me aspiring to discover themselves. The professors at NYU, dedicated in time and energy to inspiring their students, are uniquely crafted to elevate their students to the next level. Whether through class, the MCC Comm Club, the Alumni Mentor Program, or the variety of impressive internships, I know I will acquire a high degree of understanding in media, culture, and communication, from concept to real-world application. I want to achieve a deep understanding of the global community in which we live, as well as of the subjects about which I am passionate. It is my greatest ambition to join the NYU community and continue my journey as a global citizen. So yeah, obviously, please don't copy that. We're all different people, so yours is going to look very different. But just like I said in the beginning, the general tips, like try to show yourself as like cohesively a good applicant. So my Common App has some more personal stuff in it, so I'm not going to share that one with you. But if you do need specific advice on that, you can just leave a comment or DM me on Instagram. Okay, and then finally, I'm just going to talk about some general tips and advice. So number one, apply early decision if you know that NYU is for you. It demonstrates that you have great interest in the school, and it takes so much pressure off your shoulders in senior year if you do get in. Number two, make your story cohesive. So as I mentioned a little bit before, try to use your Common App and Why NYU essays to connect with the activities and classes you've taken. For example, I made my whole thing about being a global citizen. So I tied that into my community service and learning different perspectives, while also diving into culture with art and taking both Latin and Chinese. And I even delved into writing about my personal interests, like travel, K-pop, anime, since those were all relevant. And it was also very relevant to the major I was applying as. I think I probably painted my story a little more cohesive than it would really need to be. So you don't really need to go that overboard, but as long as it shows who you are. If you're really witty or you're really good at creative writing, definitely use that to your advantage. One of my friends who got into the same major as me, she felt that she didn't really have anything that she was particularly good at, or that was some sort of a cohesive defining quality. So she wrote about that actually. In her essay, she showed that even though her story didn't really connect, that was okay, and that was just a part of who she was, and that it was cool that she had varied interests. Okay, number three, choose your major wisely. I know that some people apply as easier majors to get into, and then they want to transfer into Stern or something, but be careful when doing this. It is notoriously hard to switch into Stern from another major, and NYU doesn't really love if you try to switch your major outside of your school, so just be conscientious when doing that. Okay, then final tip, take a breather. If you're watching this, you're probably like how I was, so either a non-senior preparing very early on to apply to their dream school, or a junior or senior who is just very stressed out right now. So my advice, just take a breather. I know that's easier said than done, but just remember that we may have different scores, different grades, different activities, but we are different people, and as different people, we are just contributors to NYU's great diversity. So just be yourself and don't bother to obsessively compare yourself to other applicants, because you'll just stress yourself out even more. Okay, well that about wraps it up. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment or DM me on Insta at maimai.ys. Yeah, and if I left anything out or you want me to make another video about more specific things like dorms or like other NYU advice, just let me know.